Hi, it's Maggie the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your September 2018 general readings. Thank you for joining us here today and welcome to any newcomers. As always, thank you for those of you who continue to follow my YouTube channel, for all your likes and shares and subscribes and your feedback. And always a big thank you to all of my clients out there, both regular and new, for continuing to keep me so busy with personal one-on-one readings. And as most of you who follow me know, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, live or recorded, you can get more information and contact details by either going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on the little About button there, or you can click on the description bar of all the videos I post. Please feel free to contact me directly at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be delighted to work with you. I can usually get back to you within the same day or the first 24 hours of your initial contact. And turnaround time for scheduling personal readings can be anywhere from a few days upwards of a couple of weeks, but almost always within a 2-week period of time or so we can set up a reading for you. So if you're interested, send me an email. We'll go from there. You can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo for quicker answers to the quicker, easier questions. And that link is also provided. All right, let's move right into this. This is for the water sign of Scorpio for the month of September 2018. Remember that general readings always resonate a little differently for everybody watching. The details and specifics are always going to vary, but the energy and advice always remains the same. So if you know your rising and your moon sign, watch those videos as well, because they can provide a bit of additional insight and clarification for you. Okay, Scorpio, let's see what's in store for you for September 2018. All right, Scorpio, we begin with the Hanging Man, followed by Justice. We have the Three of Cups, followed by the Tower. And we have the Two of Wands, followed by the Nine of Wands. And the Magician, followed by the Ace of Wands. And from the bottom of the deck, your overall energy, your overall focus and energy and guidance is the Four of Cups. Let's take a look at your elemental energy here. You have 2 cups, 3 wands, and 4 major arcana cards. So it looks like September might be a significant month for you, which is typically what a lot of major arcana cards can represent. It's energies of God, Spirit, your angels and guides, divine timing, and orchestration. Whenever you see major arcana cards show up in a spread, they typically can represent potential life shifts and changes, or the opportunities for those as well. So your overall energy from the bottom of the deck is the Four of Cups. And you have, let's see, we have 1, 2 cups, 3 wands, and then the rest is major arcana cards. So cups is water energy, it's emotional energy, and then wands is fire energy, which can be about building, creating, changing, movement, very forward-looking, future-looking energy as well. So the Four of Cups. The Four of Cups is a card that shows kind of being in a place that you may not be, it represents being in a place where you feel you're not satisfied with what you have, that what you have isn't enough. And some of you, I almost, when I put this card down, for some reason, for a fraction of a second, I saw it as the Five of Pentacles, which is a card of insufficiency and lack, which is interesting because some of you may feel like what you have isn't quite enough for you. And in whatever area of your life this may manifest in, this might be job, work, and career for some of you, or relationships for some of you. The Four of Cups represent that maybe, at least from the outside looking in, that what you have looks to be quite decent, and you might even be offered something else or an opportunity in front of you which looks good too. But this card represents kind of feeling detached from where you're at in your life right now, or particularly in a certain aspect of your life. I sometimes call it the boredom and gratitude card, although it doesn't necessarily have to connote those emotions. But you can see this man is reclining against a tree. He has these 3 beautiful goblets next to him, upright and full, and another one being offered to him, almost as if a holy gift or opportunity out of the sky. But he doesn't seem particularly enthusiastic or connected. So it can represent feeling like you're at a place in your life where it isn't, where what you have isn't enough, or you don't feel a particular connection to it. even though from the outside looking in, it may look like it has the trappings of something good or something comfortable. For example, in work career, this can represent maybe having a good job, a decent job, or being on a decent career path, one that perhaps provides you with, you know, what you need to pay your bills, but you don't feel particularly connected to it. You don't feel like it's particularly fulfilling you. And for some reason, you're just not, the shine of it may have worn off. And you might be feeling a bit restless, but not enough to actually get up and make any major changes. And the same for emotional relationship energies or spiritual path. You may be in a relationship that, you know, a lot of the aspects of the relationship look good, look decent. Maybe other people would look at your relationship and go, well, compared to what I have, or it looks like you have a decent relationship. But for some reason, there's a lack of connection. There's a disconnect here. A feeling like you're not connected to it anymore, like it's not providing you with what it used to provide you. So that's the looks like the overall energy and focus. And I am, for some of you, getting a feeling that there is this sense of insufficiency, and you feel like you're not feeling connected either to a job, work, or career path, or a relationship. And I feel like it's because something may have happened in the very recent past. You do have the Tower card showing up here too, but for some reason I'm feeling like it's more something that's happened in the recent past. And again, because this is a general reading, it's going to resonate differently, and the details are going to resonate. Some of you, this may be in a job environment or on a career path, and some of you, this may be in relationship, because I'm getting kind of an even split here. But it feels like something has happened and you're waiting for, I feel like for some of, I feel like for those of you, sorry, Scorpio, the challenge sometimes is in sorting out when I'm getting into something cohesive without sounding, you know, like I'm stumbling all over the place, which I am. So I feel like whatever it is that has happened recently was significant, huge even for some of you, and very difficult, challenging, even painful for some of you. And I feel like for most of you, there's a sense of that you were wrong. Some of you, it could be that you did wrong or feel like you did wrong in a situation, but also that wrong was done to you. And there's a sense of kind of waiting to see how things play out, waiting for the scales of justice to kind of, the wheels of justice to turn, and the scales to kind of be evened out here. We end August and begin September with two major arcana cards of the Hanging Man and Justice, which kind of describes this feeling pretty intensely. The Hanging Man can represent feeling like you're in stasis or limbo, like something, there is no movement in a particular situation. But the Hanging Man is also accompanied with advice to withdraw from something because things are still playing out, and to not actively jump in there and force an outcome or rush an outcome, because not everything is known yet and not everything has played out yet. There's a certain sense of self-sacrifice to the Hanging Man, meaning that so this man is hanging upside down in what appears to be this uncomfortable, awkward position. From the outside looking in, it looks very strange. But he's not really struggling, and in most other tarot decks, he's usually depicted as hanging without struggling, which means that he is living in acceptance of this temporary situation that he's in, and he's not actually trying to free himself or to force or rush any particular outcome at the time being, because he understands that it's temporary and that things are still playing out. And it can be difficult to do that. There is a sense of a little bit of sacrifice, of taking a step back in spite of from a situation that's difficult, in spite of the fact that you want to kind of jump in there and say this and make this happen and force this outcome or rush this outcome. But again, there's a sense of a situation is still continuing to play out. I feel almost like something exploded in the recent past, Scorpio. And there are plenty of times where you want to kind of jump in there and resolve it in a variety of different ways, or emotions may cause you to, you know, want to kind of jump in and say things to certain people, or, you know, force an outcome in a certain way. But the Hanging Man, as advice, says, wait a minute, take a step back and withdraw and just kind of hang there for a minute, even though I know it's uncomfortable, because not everything is known right now, and things are still continuing to play out. There's a sense of divine timing and orchestration at play here. Now what clarifies it is justice in the upright. Justice is the reap what you sow card, basically. It's a card that says what you put into something, your decisions, your actions will directly affect and decide the outcome, because that's what justice is. I mean, justice is blind, as the saying goes, meaning that the outcome and result and conclusion of something is not decided on what we want or hope or wish for or what our intent was, but on what people actually did, what their choices, decisions, and actions were. So the cautionary advice with justice is to operate always with as much honesty, honor, and personal integrity as possible, because that's going to affect the outcome for you and for everyone else involved. Now it's clarifying that Hanging Man. So Scorpio, it may feel around the end of August, beginning of September, that whatever this situation is, and I feel like it's something that's been going on for a while. It's recent, meaning maybe in the last 3 to 6 months, or possibly even in the last year, but I don't feel like it's an old situation. I feel like it's relatively new, and it was quite significant, quite a big deal, whatever happened, this great big blow up or shake up of some kind. And it feels like there was a lot of wrong done, and things being kind of, the scales of justice being out of balance right now, and it feels like it may be taking its time in sorting everything out and everything coming to its proper and rightful conclusion, because justice also says that whatever the outcome is, it's going to be karmically fair. Even if everybody doesn't, even if it doesn't turn out the way that completely the way that you want, or completely the way that everybody wants, it represents justice, that it will be equitable and fair. But it feels maybe at this point like there's no movement, or the wheels of justice are grinding very, very slowly. So, but again, the energy of the Hanging Man, the advice of the Hanging Man is, well, he's hanging there. He's not jumping in and forcing anything, because that could make things worse or cause things to blow up. Things are still continuing to play out, and justice is coming. Those scales will be evenly, will come into even harmony. It's just taking a little bit of time. I don't necessarily feel like it's a delay. I feel like it's just divine timing and orchestration. Things are still playing out. And that may be a large part of what's contributing to this sense of the Four of Cups, of feeling kind of disconnected, not completely plugged into anything, especially if you don't know what the outcome of something is going to be. Do I continue to invest in this thing? Do I continue to work at this thing or not? Because I don't know how it's going to play out. It's difficult to invest in something or continue working in a job or a relationship that is shaky, and we're not sure of the outcome, and that can make it difficult to continue to devote ourselves and invest in that. But just hang tight, it is coming. Now next to that we have the Three of Cups, clarified by the Tower. So the Three of Cups, this is an interesting combination of cards. The Three of Cups is a card of getting out and having a good time. There's a strong social energy attached to this card, and it represents being with people that you feel really connected with, really good friends, maybe your social network, your close social network, best friends, kindred spirits, that kind of sisterhood, brotherhood energy, being out with people that you really feel good around and they feel good with you. You connect well with these people. So it can represent close friendships, and it also can represent close ties within your community or your closest community. And it's a very positive card. It represents being with people that you feel very connected with, enjoying yourself and having a good time. Now it's clarified and accompanied by the Tower. The Tower is a major arcana card that represents a big event, a life-changing event, something which really shakes you up, which you didn't see coming in a very unexpected way, as you can see represented by the bolt of lightning striking this tower, this brick tower, which was this man's home. The fact that he's falling out of it naked represents the suddenness and the unexpectedness of it. That's the energy of major arcana cards. This is energies of God, Spirit, your angels, and guides. We have no control over this energy. The Tower often makes a lot of people clench up because it represents a life-changing or something that happens that really shakes you up in a very unexpected way. And it often represents something breaking or coming to an end or being shaken up and broken because it needed to be. The key to understanding and utilizing energies of cards like the Tower card and Death that represent these big unexpected changes or endings is to not fight them and resist them, because number one, it doesn't do any good. And number two, if something is being shown to have cracks and flaws in it, it's because it needs to be, and either it's time to look at what's broken and flawed and fix it once and for all, or if something is coming to an end, even if we don't want it, it represents that this is happening because it needs to come to an end, or it's an opportunity to take a look at something and fix something once and for all. Sometimes, I mean, the Tower card can represent winning the lottery or getting that unexpected, you know, marriage proposal or something of that sort. It's a potentially game-changing situation, but it's often associated with, you know, situations that we didn't want to have happen. So that's why it makes a lot of people clench up. But it represents, you know, something that really kind of shakes you up, particularly in how you look at something or a belief system that you had. Now, because it clarifies the Three of Cups, I mean, you know, it could be, I mean, when you look at tarot cards, you can look at, they have multiple definitions. And a good psychic, you know, gets channeled energies and messages and stories from their source as well. And you also have to look at other cards surrounding it, because no tarot card is a standalone. The entire spread kind of, you know, tells the story and adds clarification and depth to a reading. On its own, the Three of Cups and the Tower could represent, you know, winning the lottery or having some wonderful, miraculous, extraordinary thing happen to you, and you're celebrating with friends because of it. And that could be the case for some of you. But I feel like for more of you, especially looking at the surrounding cards, there's a sense of disconnection and of waiting for, you know, the scales of justice, the wheels of justice to kind of work, and waiting for, you know, a sense of something wrong or broken being righted and fixed again, and kind of trying to push through a difficult situation. I feel like this Tower card represents something very challenging that happened, and I could say negative too, although even things that we see as negative can usually work out to our benefit down the road with perspective and experience and wisdom. But I feel like, again, for a lot of you, this is something that's already happened, but the energy is still very fresh. And I feel like it's clarifying the Three of Cups because you may be having difficulty still dealing with it, particularly if you're waiting to see how the situation isn't resolved, and you're waiting to see how the situation plays out. And I feel like your close friends, family, people in your community, and it could be in your social community, your religious or spiritual community, are really going to be key, particularly in the well, timing always being fluid. Some of you, it could be the first half of the month or the last half of the month, or even going into October a little bit. But I feel like the connections that you have with friends, with family, with community is really what's helping pull you through this time. This time of waiting to see how things play out, because waiting, you know, the energy of the Hanging Man can be very difficult, as everybody knows. You know, waiting to see how something that's been very difficult or challenging or negative or painful to play out can be very difficult when you want to get in there and you want to just get things resolved, even if you resolve them by blowing them up. And that's not what we want to do here, because the Hanging Man advises against that. And I feel like if people around you aren't actively reaching out to you, they're there, and you need to actively kind of reach out to them and kind of rely on them. And it might not be, and with some people or with some aspects of your network or community, it might not be, you know, some of it might be reaching out for advice and just, you know, talking to them and sharing your feelings with them. And some of it may just be as simple as, you know, them distracting you and getting out and having a good time and being social, which will kind of help, you know, kind of get you through this time, distract you, and remind you that there's still, you know, fun to be had and positive emotions and people around you that care about you, kind of helping you as this situation continues to play out towards its resolvement. Now, next to that, we have the Two of Wands with the Nine of Wands. So the Two of Wands is a card about being at a crossroads. Twos usually represent that. It's a number of duality, choices, decisions, crossroads. This man is at a crossroads, and tend to represent completion in the tarot. So twos represent being early on a path, or it represents having started out on a path and doing okay so far, but you've come to this crossroads and you're trying to figure out what road to take. Do I go left or do I go right? The key to choosing the right path, or helping to see the right path in the Two of Wands, is in looking long term, looking down the road, not making choices and decisions to set something in motion or go down a certain path based on what you feel right now, or maybe what's going on right now, or this waiting for this situation to play out. But it's based on, you know, what do I want long term down the road? For example, if this is a job situation or a work or career path situation, or if it's a relationship, I mean, the energy and advice is still the same. The energy of the Two of Wands is looking down the road and going, okay, in this area of my life, where do I want to be in it a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road? What's my ultimate goal? What kind of job or career path do I ultimately want to be on? What kind of a relationship do I ultimately want to have? Taking a look down the road, because it makes it a little clearer to choosing the path, meaning, you know, to making the right decisions. If you're in a relationship that you're not happy with and the person that you're with doesn't have the same long-term goals as you do, then it's time to re-examine that relationship. The same with job, work, career path, or spiritual path. If what you ultimately envision wanting in that area of your life doesn't match where you're at or where you feel you're going, it's time to re-examine where you are. Ask yourself, can I make this work? Can I make this, you know, is staying in this and investing in it and trying to make changes going to get me in this same job or in the same relationship or on the same spiritual path? Is it going to propel me towards that long-term goal? And if it's not, then it's perhaps time to get out of that and explore and examine, you know, what you do really want long-term. And for those of you who do not have clear long-term goals in job, work, or relationship, and something has happened in one of those areas of your life, you know, the Tower card energy, then it's time for you during this time period where you're waiting to see how things play out. It's an opportunity to say, you know, what do I really want long term in this area of my life? If I don't have it, how do I get to it? And, you know, and that helps make the path to getting to it a little clearer, because if you don't have a clear vision of what you want, it's like trying to plan and pack for a journey that doesn't have a particular destination. How do you know how to prepare for it, or what plans to make, or what to take, etc.? So it's about thinking long term and keeping an eye on your future, which will help you make maybe some difficult decisions in your present. And that's what's going to help kind of push you through this. It feels like you're in a bit of a hump kind of period, because the Two of Wands is clarified by the Nine of Wands, which is, this is my push through card. It's kind of the 11th hour card. The phrase that always comes to mind when I see the Nine of Wands is, it's always darkest before it's dawn. So we know that in the tarot, tens represent cycles ending and completion, or something coming to a culmination, achievement point, so it can transition into something else. So the Nine of Wands would represent being very close to completion, or very close to the end of something. And I feel like, and it's right next to the Tower card too, and I feel like for some of you, not for all of you, that whatever this Tower card, wherever this thing that happened is in this relationship, or in this, you know, perhaps job situation or spiritual path, I feel like this energy happened for a reason. Whatever this is happened for a reason. And part of that reason, and one of those reasons, might be to give you time to really re-examine and take a look at where you are, and whether or not you're making the best decisions, whether or not you're making the best relationship decisions or best job decisions in light of your long-term goal. What do you really want down the road? And if you're not in a situation that's going to lead you to that, then perhaps this big change or big shakeup that's happening is giving you the opportunity to re-examine that and make better decisions, even though that's always a difficult and painful place to be in. You can see this soldier, and he is a soldier. He's dressed for battle. He's fought a lot of battles, and he wants to be done. He's tired. He's at the 9 already. He wants to get home, take his armor off, take his shoes off, put his feet up, have a beer, be done. The Nine of Wands represents having run into, represented by this block of this grouping of wands behind him, some unexpected hurdle, delay, obstacle, challenge of some kind, just when he thought he was on the right road, or just when he thought he was, you know, almost home, almost done with this final last battle because he's been through a lot, and he's run into something else and he's withdrawn. There's sometimes a feeling of maybe discouragement with the Nine of Wands. It's like, oh my gosh, something else has happened again, and this always happens. Am I ever going to be done? Is this ever going to work out for me? You know, how do I get through this? Is it possible to get through this? Should I just give up? Maybe feeling kind of discouraged and depressed a bit, but push through. You are so, so close. You're almost close to being done with this path that you're on, this portion that you're on. And this is the tricky part of general readings. For some of you, this push through energy can represent, you know, like if you're in a relationship, a job situation, or a relationship that has gone through something very difficult and challenging. Some of you, it's going to be about, do we commit to this and do the right thing and work and put our all into it and work together once and for all? Or is this never going to get me to where I want to be long term? And this Tower card energy happened to give me one more opportunity to take a look at it and go, look, if you don't make better decisions, you're never going to get down the road to what you really want in this area of your life. So it's going to be a little different, but I feel like people have an innate knowing inside of themselves as to which group that you belong to. So at or towards the end of the month, we have the Magician and the Ace of Wands. Great combination of energy. The Magician, a very independent, powerful, empowered kind of energy. I always look at the Magician as he's kind of the entrepreneur of the tarot. He's a very independent energy. As an individual, the Magician has everything that he needs, all the tools, knowledge, experience, wisdom, know-how, determination, and perseverance to manifest whatever he wants into reality. He has the ability to make what he wants real. And he has that because he's worked long and hard to get to where he's at. He has a long road behind him already. He's learned through success and failure, triumph and defeat, trial and error, till he's at a point in his career where he now has, again, all the tools, the knowledge, the wisdom, the experience, and the know-how to take what he envisioned or what he thinks about and manifest it in reality using his determination, his will, his perseverance, and all his knowledge and experience. It's a very independent, empowered card. He needs little, if any, help from other people because he has the ability to manifest what he wants. Now, Scorpio, this is sitting right next to the Two of Wands. The Two of Wands is about looking down the road at what you want long term. The Nine of Wands can represent, you know, that clarified, it can represent, I've run into yet another snag. Maybe it's time to take a look at your long-term goals and take a look at what you're currently doing. Maybe if it's not working for you, are you making the same choices over and over again in the same situations or in different situations? Are you operating from the same belief system? Are you making the same kinds of choices and it's not getting you anywhere? It's not getting you towards your long-term goals. You're feeling discouraged. The Magician says that you have it within you, Scorpio, to manifest what you want into reality. But you need to take another look at where you're at and the decisions that you've made that have led up to that. It may be time to break some patterns, break the way of doing things, and break this tendency of making certain the same kinds of choices in similar situations in order to have a new beginning and start over fresh again, because the Magician is clarified by the Ace of Wands. Aces always represent the number one, so they represent new beginnings or the opportunity for new beginnings. This is Wands, it's fire energy, which is all about change, movement, action, power, building, growing, and manifesting, especially towards our future down the road. So it's a new beginning, the start of a new path, or the opportunity for one, and it's exciting, and it's filled with a lot of creative change, and you are more than capable of doing what it takes to manifest and achieve that down the road. But I think it's time to take a look, and you have the opportunity right now, even though what's brought you the opportunity may have not been very comfortable or easy, but it's brought you the opportunity to once again re-examine your long-term goals and ask yourself if the way you're living and the choices and decisions you're making are actually leading you down the path towards achieving your long-term goals in whatever area of your life this is resonating in. So Scorpio, that pretty much wraps up your September 2018 general reading. I hope that you enjoyed it or found it helpful or useful in some way. Again, If you're interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, you can email me directly at maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I'd be most happy to work with you and set up a reading as soon as we can. I do love and romance, of course, compatibility charting, reconciliation spreads, career, work, and finance, investment readings, channeled messages from past on loved ones. And I also do 6 and 12-month overviews, which a lot of people like. It's a specific spread that takes a look at all the main areas of your life for the next 6 or 12 months, depending on how far ahead you want to look and what's coming, and advice and guidance about that. And I also offer gift readings as well, which is something to start thinking about as we're starting to transition or look at the holiday season part of the year. But anyway, you can get all that information by clicking on the description bar of all the videos I post, going to my YouTube channel's homepage and clicking on the little About button for all my contact details and my email address. And you can also find me on the smartphone app Instantgo under Irish Gypsy for fast answers to the easier questions, quick, easy questions. And Scorpio, I will see you all again in a couple of weeks for the September 2018 mid-month readings. And until then, as always, I wish you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. Take care, and I hope to see you back here again soon. Bye-bye.